Welcome. What are the contours of your wilderness? Your desert? I think that the wilderness looks different for all of us. Scripture says that Jesus spent 40 days in the desert, but I think that some of us spend years in the bleakness of the wilderness. St. Mother Teresa talked of years of desolation when God felt absent from her life. This painting shows one 15th century Sienese artist's interpretation of Saint Anthony the Abbot in the wilderness. The life of Saint Anthony suggests that he had his share of temptations. This is one of 8 panels in a larger work, so not all of his temptations are shown here. But let's focus on the artist's depiction of the wilderness in this one. Notice that he's on a road and surrounded by landscape. Notice the rocks in the road. Even if Anthony can stay on the road, he risks falling over and spraining or breaking something. What do the rocks look like on your path? And what are the risks to you? The landscape is interesting. There's some greenishness in the foreground where Anthony is, but the green in the background, beyond the church, is much more lush. It almost seems like an early reference to the saying that the grass is always greener on the other side. The trees near Anthony are bare, but the trees in the background seem to have leaves. Does the good often seem far away to you? Notice that the landscape around the church is the most desert-like. What do you think that's about? We'll come back to that question in a minute. Let's turn our attention to Anthony. Notice first that his walking stick is in the form of a cross. This cross is what will keep him from falling on the rocky, uneven wilderness in which he travels. But notice also the flashing gold of Anthony's halo. Could the halo represent his closeness to God? Is that the hope that Anthony's presence in the wilderness offers the viewer? Let's juxtapose Anthony's rich golden halo with the starkly barren church. I suspect that the barrenness around the church is based more on what went on in Siena about 10 years before the artist painted this. In 1424, in the early days of the Catholic Reformation, a council was held at Siena. It ended quickly and was later declared heretical. Do you think this left the artist feeling like the church was impotent to create a new life for itself? I wonder if the artist is presenting the tension between what is really of God, namely Anthony and his kind, and what the formal church sometimes gets tripped up in. Anthony went out to the desert to get away from the temptations of city life. Is there a version of church that gets too close to the trappings of politics and society and misses the point of the gospel? There's also a humorous aspect of this artwork. A pot of gold near the animal in the lower left has been erased. Anthony's posture was designed to show him reacting against the presence of that much gold. But now he seems to be putting his hands up to guard against the animal quietly relaxing under the tree. His gesture of horror at such a creature seems almost funny, but the irony is that 2 of Anthony's temptations were laziness and boredom, according to Athanasius. The animal seems to be lazy and bored. Maybe that explains Anthony's continuing horror. Do you ever find yourself in a place where you see grave danger or a frightening wilderness with little evidence of God's presence? Do other people just not get how you could be seeing a wilderness? Everyone's desert, everyone's desolation looks different. That said, a glance toward the bright sky and the horizon suggests that sometimes, whether you see wilderness or God, is a question of which direction you turn toward. Thank you for watching. God bless.